Welcome everybody to the Comedy Studio and another episode of Humor for Humanity. Today's guest is Gary Gulman. Ladies and gentlemen, his new special, can I say one word, Gary? Can I say one word? Awesome.
Only one word. I have to limit you to one word.
Yeah. It's dynamite, man. It is so good.
Thank you.
You know, I saw him the other night here at the Comedy Studio. He's here working out new material, okay? And first of all, I want to welcome you to the Comedy Studio, folks. Probably among the top 3 comedy clubs in the country in terms of young comics working things out and developing new talent. Am I right?
Oh yeah. It's a great place to work out new stuff or to hone older stuff. I mean, everything I did in that special, I probably tried out here for the first or second time.
Yeah.
When I was.
How important is it to have a place like this to come to do things like that?
It's crucial. You can't do it without a place like this.
Right.
Or else you're going on in front of your own audience. Maybe I guess those famous guys can go on in front of their own audience and try out things, but that seems a little bit risky.
Yeah, like a Saturday night when they're all there and they're all paid and you break out new stuff. But Rick Jenkins has done a fantastic job here. This is their 20th anniversary here at the Comedy Studio, folks. Rick has been on our podcast before, and they just do a great job. It's a place that young comics can come, and I love the young comics.
Is he a Pied Piper for comedians? I never read the Pied Piper, but I know that the Pied Piper tried to do well in his community, but maybe I'm mistaking the myth or something. But
no, he's just. He's a great guy.
He's really encouraging, and the young comedians adore him. Yeah.
And they record the shows, so you can get a copy of your set. I mean, it's just great, and I love it because, you know, I've been doing it for 30 years. So I come here, and the kids aren't even 30 yet. So I'm up here doing my act, and if they like it, I know, okay, this has potential, you know?
Yeah.
So it's great. Anyway, so I saw Gary the other night. So I'm here watching you, and I go, wow, this stuff is really good. And then I find out it's all new. Yeah. And so it's you're doing this stuff on ice cream and your relatives from 5,000 years ago. I go home and tell my wife, it's like 9:30, so I go, honey, I just saw a great comic down at the Comedy Studio.
Oh, that's so nice.
I go, he's got a special out on Netflix now. Let's turn it on. I want you to see this one particular bit about ice cream. Yeah. So we turn it on, we watch the whole thing. Now, the ice cream bit wasn't in there. We both loved it. I couldn't believe the writing, how good it was, how it was clean. How'd you develop clean coming out of Boston?
I know.
But we loved it. But I realized that the ice cream bit wasn't in it, and go, wow, that ice cream bit is new.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive to have such a tight special that just came out and then be working on new stuff that is so good. Yeah. What is your process to get new bits out there?
My process is to think of it, talk it out on stage, and then listen to my recording of it later on, probably the next day, and then I'm miserable when I do it though, because you know listening to your own voice is so painful, and I can pick apart anything I say on the recording. So it's tough because also it sounds like there was no audience. You felt like, oh, I was doing really well last night, and then you listen to it, it was like, oh, it would have been nice had there been some people there, but because the recorder never picks up the audience
iPhone.
response.
You're doing it on an iPhone.
I'm doing it on an iPhone. Yeah, right. It never picks up the audience response.
It was a small crowd. It was a Sunday night. There was probably 20, 30 people, but they're digging it.
Yeah.
They were into it.
The video that they run, you get to see actually how you're performing it and your body language and everything like that. So that's helpful.
It's really helpful, and again, it's one of the great attributes that the club has. A perk to come in, you can actually get a DVD of your set. It's incredible. So anyway, I was just really impressed because, you know, I think that the biggest thing is after you get material to continue to write on that level, because you have a certain level you're trying to meet, and you know you've done 3 specials now.
Yeah, that's my 3rd one. Yeah.
And so you have to at least equal it and try to surpass it. I find really hard. I mean, Richard Pryor did that first special, Live on the Sunset Strip. It was the culmination of 13 years.
Right.
Then he did one a couple of years later. Wasn't quite as good.
Oh, it wasn't?
It wasn't as groundbreaking. It just wasn't. It was great. It's Richard Pryor. But I mean, for me, in terms of, you know, one has 13 years of material going to it. The other one has 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, and I'm just impressed with your process. And I know you toured with Louis C.K.
Yeah, I opened for Louis for about 6 months a few years ago, and that was really something because he has this thing where he puts it on a special and then he never does it again.
That's unbelievable.
And we were
not me, not me, folks. I'm doing stuff from '84. Okay.
we did a show a week after he had done Saturday Night Live, and he stopped doing the bit that he had done on Saturday Night Live. It was Killing It Killed. It was on for 8 minutes on Saturday Night Live, and he just has enough material where he can drop that, where I would have milked it for 3 or 4 years, like most comedians do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only, you have to make that decision. You have to have that confidence to go, or that discipline, just say, you know what, it's done. I heard Seinfeld did something similar. He recorded all his, that special, I'm telling you for the last time.
Yeah.
And he did all his material, said he's never doing it again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
He's done it again. I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen him do some of the material from that special, and I can't blame him. It's gold.
It's gold, but not only that he has to do it to get the laughs, the bits are fun to do. I have bits that are old that they're just fun to do.
Yeah,
sometimes I'll come in here, I'll have a bit that's 10 years old. I feel like doing it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to talk about the Pilgrims tonight.
Right.
I haven't talked about them.
Yeah. The Pilgrims are evergreen. They never get old.
Right. I mean, the 1620, they're still.
Yeah.
So I saw you with Louis at Symphony Hall.
Oh, okay.
And that was the first time that I saw you do like 20, 25, 30 minutes. It was dynamite.
Oh, thank you.
It was so cool.
Thanks so much.
And I had heard that Louis does, and this is why I was talking about your process, that Louis will do an hour, he'll start a show, do it for a year, then stop doing it, record it, then stop doing it, and not do it again, and start writing another. Is that what you're trying to do now?
No. I mean, I'm trying to do it, but I mean, the joke you saw about the ice cream, I've been doing that for between 6 and 9 months. I mean, I've been working on that for a long time. Yeah, that's new to me. And
well, anything within a year, I think, is new.
Yeah.
It takes a year sometimes to get a longer piece down.
Yeah, and I ask a lot of comedians, and I would have come to asking you this, so I'm glad you brought it up. But it's like when you go back to a place that you've played before. How much new material are they expecting? I mean, how much? Because the other side of it is the jokes need some seasoning. You can't tell me that the joke isn't going to be better after 2 or 3 years than it is after 1 year. So,
of course, I always mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I pretty much have to, because I can't. I work largely in the New England area, so I can't do an hour, at TCAN in Natick this September and go back and do. I usually don't do another hour. I'll do maybe a half hour new and another 30 that's older. I find, but I'll try not to repeat the stuff that I did, the older stuff that I did last time.
Right.
But I'll also find that the audience, I'll do new stuff and the laughs will be then I'll do old stuff, and maybe just I have more confidence in it, or they know it. It just it does much better.
Yeah.
It's just stronger material.
Yeah, it might be stronger and you have more confidence in it. When you have more confidence in it, you deliver it better and you sell it better. Yeah.
Totally. So anyway, my wife and
you tell it louder and faster.
Yes.
I always feel that comedians miss out on that one thing. Just go a little bit louder and a little bit faster, and the audience picks up on that.
And I also noticed watching you here that do you write it out? Like, do you write your bits out, on a word processor, or you write them by hand?
I write them by hand.
Oh, wow. Good for you. You were a teacher, right?
Yeah, I was a teacher for a while. Let
me see your penmanship. You're a teacher.
It's horrific. It's like a first grader's.
Oh my God. Big printed words. See Dick run. I love that. That's going to be good.
Yeah. So so
you write it out.
I write it out, but I'm listening to it and then writing it down. To make sure I get it with the right wording. There are a number of schools of thought on that. I mean, Seinfeld says you write it down, and you perform it that way every night. You're doing an impression of yourself. But the late Gary Shandling used to say that he liked to fumble around with the words and the order and the wording and everything, and try to make it new every time there. So equally great comedians, it's just a matter of what their preference was.
Right. I think writing it, like hand writing it, I think there's something about connecting the pen to the paper I think would help with the memorization. I try to write it on the, on the computer, and I do it, but I think I'm going to go back to writing longhand.
Yeah, I also think that it makes your performance much more consistent if you're doing what I consider to be using the right word. There was something that Mark Twain said. He said the difference between the right word and the almost right word is the difference between lightning and a lightning bug. So you can really nail it if you use the right word. So I try to head for that, and that involves almost being able to read it and it's still funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. Very few comedians are that good that you could just read it and without their delivery it would be funny. But I try to get it to the point where if you read it, you would say, "Oh, that's at least a joke or something."
You know something? When I was listening to you and I was watching the special, I said, he writes it out. This is all written out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can tell, no missing word, no extra words.
Yeah.
No, it's just very concise, very trim, and it was just great. So congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
Your newest special, three specials now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And look what the New York Times said, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Gulman is a stand-up comedian who lives in New York City, originally from Boston. Gary's been a scholarship, check this out, been a scholarship college football player, an accountant, a barista, a doorman, a waiter, and a high school teacher. He's now one of the most popular touring comics and one of only a handful of comedians to perform on every single late-night comedy program. Gary, and this is the quote from the New York Times, Gary will be the next giant ex-Bostonian comic to break huge. Louis C.K., Bill Burr, Gary Gulman. You heard it here first. That's from the Village Voice. He's made 3 TV specials, 3 albums. Gary marked his 20th anniversary in stand-up comedy with It's About Time Tour. That's the Netflix special we're talking about. Selling out theaters throughout the country. It's no wonder the New York Times wrote, Gary is finally being recognized as one of the country's strongest comedians. Not too shabby, man.
No, it sounds really good. I don't feel that great, but it's nice to have. Does it ever sink in?
You know, I feel like I'll come here, sometimes you'll come and you'll do these gigs and they're great, and sometimes you go and they're not that good.
Yeah.
And you I think internally sometimes you're only as good as your last show.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree, totally.
It's like you have a killer week someplace, man, I'm ready.
I'm
ready.
I'm bulletproof.
I'm bulletproof. And then you go someplace and you struggle, you have a bad night, or they're not into it, or the people complain for whatever. You know, it's just, oh really?
Yeah.
Geez, I've been doing it 30 years. Maybe teaching. Maybe go back to teaching.
It's the most humbling thing. I can't think. I guess trying to hit a baseball is more humbling because you can look like an amateur. But I feel like that some nights. I'm like, I feel like a first-time comedian up there. I don't have my chops. I don't have anything to lean on.
When you came out the other night, you started off saying, okay, self-esteem, here we go. We're on the line. You're putting the self-esteem on the line.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Unfortunately, because that's no way to do it because it puts too much pressure on it. But I know that driving home, I'm going to either feel great about what I did or I'm going to feel like an amateur.
Yeah. But you know something? And I've heard this. People say to me all the time, like I'll be hosting a show or something, go, oh, you've been doing it, doing it a long time. You never get nervous. Not true.
No.
You know, I get psyched up. I'm like going up to bat.
Yeah.
I'm like going up to bat, and it doesn't matter if I got a hit last night. This is a different night. This is a different crowd. They paid their admission, or you're trying stuff.
Right.
And the other thing, once you get to a certain level, you're trying stuff, but there's people younger than you watching you. So I always feel like I got to do well for them.
I know.
And I'm like, why do I care what he thinks?
It's painful, all the things that are going on in our head, but you're constantly proving yourself, and it's.
But I mean, I think
exhausting.
I think it helps you to rise to the level of where you want to be. Excellence.
Maybe.
You know, in terms of the performance, in terms of separating, a mediocre performance or a mediocre career from one that's really striving for, excellence.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that, but it's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But do you think, like, Seinfeld felt that way? Do you think Shandling felt that way?
No.
No?
No.
Have you talked to them about that?
No, but in interviews and just watching their first Johnny Carson, I watched each of their first Johnny Carsons, and from the moment they walk out there, if you would just tune in Johnny Carson, you didn't know Johnny Carson, you were the host, you would say, oh, this guy is the new host of the Tonight Show. They walked out with such confidence and so at ease, and I just look at my sets and I can still pick apart the notes that are off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, okay. But I mean internally, those guys internally, do you think they have the same kind of, angst about working out new stuff? I mean, Seinfeld
maybe Shandling, but Seinfeld, I honestly believe is just believes
ice
in
water in the veins.
Yes, believes in himself, like George Gervin. Yeah.
Well, you have to have a huge amount of confidence to be able to do a film like The Comedian.
Oh yeah.
And go out and film yourself doing new stuff.
Yeah.
And put it in a film.
Right.
I mean, that is a great thing that he did.
Yeah. That movie is very inspiring. inspiring to me. Yeah.
By the way, I'm working with Barry Katz, and I know you used to work with Barry.
No way.
Yeah, he says hello.
Oh, that's exciting. Tell him I said hello. Yeah, he was one of my first managers.
Yeah. And did he do your first special?
He did my first special. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were on The Last Comic Standing, right?
Yes.
How was that? That must have been fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a great time on that. Although it was nerve-wracking, but it definitely gave me a fan base that people will still come up to me today and say, "I saw you for the first time on Last Comic Standing." It was effective.
Yeah, those shows are huge.
Yeah.
I did Star Search back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And people would come up to me and I got 2.5 stars, just for the record. Okay?
Oh my God.
I came in second. There were 2 of us.
That's a C.
I got 2.5.
Oh, that stinks.
Maybe 3.
Oh, you poor guy.
But you know who beat me was great comic from San Francisco, Evan Davis.
Oh, Evan's
Do you know
a great
Evan?
comic. Yes.
Great comics.
Very
Been
funny.
doing it as long as I have.
Yeah.
And he in his set, I looked at his and I go, you know what? That was better quality material than
Really?
mine. I was talking about seaweed, and I'm in LA. They don't have seaweed. You know, I'm talking to the middle America. I'm going seaweed. I'm doing all this health food stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was nerve-wracking, and that was like a competition.
Yes.
And I know what you mean about like when you get on Last Comic Standing, you're in competition with your peers. The whole country's watching.
Yeah.
You know, it couldn't be more nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's very unnatural.
And you're new at it. Was that your first national TV spot?
I mean, I had done the Tonight Show and things before,
you had?
But I hadn't been recognized.
Did you do it with Leno?
Like that. I did it with Leno. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and he was super nice.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been nicer.
Right.
And I had done Letterman, so I had done some TV spots, but nothing in prime time.
Right.
And nothing where you could get knocked off the show if you didn't do well enough. So
It's the worst.
It was the
when I
worst.
lost, right?
Oh yeah.
I was devastated.
Yes, of course.
Because the Boston team is saying, "Team, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
You're gonna win the $100,000 we're all pulling for you."
Oh my God! I wasn't up for $100,000. I don't think. I think
It was 100,000, and the guy that won that year was Sinbad.
Wow.
Yeah, and he beat. I was at a party. A friend of mine, Barry Nightcrew, was at a party in L.A. He said there was 4 comics in the room who lost to Sinbad that
Wow.
year. It was like him, Evan Davis, somebody else, Meany, I think, lost to
Wow.
Sinbad. There was like 4 people
Wow.
at this party who lost to Sinbad.
That
He
was
won
a
that
juggernaut.
year.
He was a juggernaut.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he looked completely natural, completely like he was just coming off the top of his head.
Yeah. God.
He was unbelievable.
I envy those people.
I do too, man.
It's excruciating.
I do too. But you are a workman, man. I mean, you
thanks.
take it. You're like Seinfeld and Louis in that respect. It's just really impressive. I have to tell you a funny story. When I went to see you at Symphony Hall, I didn't have a ticket, right? So I'm out in front of the place, and I'm going, "I need one ticket. I need one ticket." It was sold out.
I can't believe that.
I go, "I need one ticket. And these, 30-somethings, 20, they're walking past me, and I'm going, "My name's Jimmy Tingle. I was on the Tonight Show. I need one ticket. I had a half-hour comedy special. I need one ticket." They're ignoring me. I go, "Louis, he's a big deal. He opened for me, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
1985. Okay, Louis opened for me.
That's
1985.
hilarious.
Okay, I need one ticket. Jon Stewart, folks. He opened for me in '84. I'm like, okay, I admit it was the last century, but so what? I said, hey, Lincoln just got nominated for 12 Oscars. He hasn't done a set since 1865.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
But it was.
So how did you wind up getting a ticket?
I got a ticket. I got a ticket.
you.
I got in there. They had
Great.
some loose ones, but I loved it. I loved what you were doing, what Louis was doing. But I loved that you take the craft so seriously, and it's like, and it's great, and it is a craft in and of itself.
Yeah.
People will say, "Well, what's your films and what are your sitcoms?" And that's all great, but just doing stand-up is fantastic.
Yeah, it's plenty for me.
It's plenty.
Yeah. It's hard to be good at this. Never mind do all these other things. I really admire the people who can have 3 or 4 things going on. I'm not a multitasker like that.
But you've been in several films, right?
I've been in a few films. Yeah.
A few films, and you have some sitcoms.
But you've been on set of a film. It's like you work for 3 minutes and then you wait for 7 hours while they set up lights and they have somebody stand where you're.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. So Gary, the career's going great. The New York Times, big, huge, favorable review. Next big thing to come out of Boston. Look at this tour schedule, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, look at this. New York, okay, Governors, Laughing Skull Lounge, Atlanta, Raleigh, North Carolina, Clearwater, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Fort Lauderdale. He's playing all of Florida. Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Clearwater. You're on the road till December.
Yeah, I'm on the road a lot. Yeah. Yeah, but well, you know, in between you got to make a living, so it's,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the places, I mean, how impressive is it when you come out and they've seen the Netflix special? I mean, it must really help with attendance.
Yeah.
Right? I just looked at New York; it's all sold out.
Yeah, the most boost other than Last Comic Standing that I've gotten in as far as fan attendance is from having a special on Netflix. But I find that as much as that's great that they saw me on Netflix now, there's an hour I can't do in front of them.
Right.
Right, an hour of material. So maybe I'll take a request at the end.
Yeah.
Is there anything from the special you want to see? And somebody will yell out something. But I don't want to become too reliant on the old stuff because I'm afraid they won't come back.
Nah, Gary, I'm telling you, in my humble opinion, they're gonna love it.
All right.
They're gonna love it. You know, I go with the 50-50 rule until you get the rest of it down. Because you're following something that's excellent.
Right.
And so you gotta, on a certain level, you gotta, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta give them that. That's my 2 cents. That's why I couldn't understand if Louis doing a new hour every year in January, how do you get 16 new minutes if you started?
He goes around to the clubs in New York City and works it out before his tour, so he'll have a new hour.
Good for him, man.
The tour. Yeah, he's inspiring.
I love it. By the way, Dennis Leary was the executive producer?
Yes.
And Goldthwait filmed it?
Yeah. Goldthwait was a director, yeah.
Funny story, and I'll let you go.
Oh, sure.
I started with Goldthwait and Leary, early 80s. We did a comedy competition, Newport, Rhode Island, right? I think in like 83, 84, okay? Leary, Goldthwait won. A juggler came in second.
Oh my God.
I came in third. Leary didn't place.
Wow.
I emailed him last week. I said, Dennis, do you remember the time? He goes, holy fuck, I haven't thought about that in whatever, 30 years.
Yeah.
We had so many laughs talking about it because it was dynamite, you know. We all start together and it's just great to see how many people from this area have done so well.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole idea of stand-up comedy, people making things up, no teachers really, it's your own instincts.
But what is your theory on why there are so many good comics and for a long time, not just your era, but there are guys coming out now that
tremendous.
Just blow you away. Yeah,
absolutely. My theory is Boston has great education relative to the rest of the country. Very good schools, a lot of colleges, history, a very vibrant sports scene, very vibrant political scene. You got all these mixes of, there's a whole intellectual component here, and there's a whole working class, blue collar component. And you got history, politics, sports, and funny people. You got the New England
and these clubs.
And these great clubs. These
we're
great clubs.
We're really lucky that we all had a place to work it out.
And I think one thing leads to another. One thing leads to another. The population really lends itself to the comics. You got to be funny because the audience is funny. The thing about Boston is the audience is funny.
They're very witty.
They're hard
people.
too. It's like, okay, go ahead. Make me laugh. A lot of them are like, go ahead, make me laugh. They can be tough. Gary, man, congratulations.
Thanks so much for having me.
How do people find out about the Gary Gulman experience?
You can
What's
go
the
to
website?
GaryGulman.com.
GaryGulman.com.
GULMAN. So you can check it out there, and I answer all my own fan mail.
You do?
Yeah. It's not that hard. There aren't that many.
You can email them, ladies and gentlemen. What's the email? Oh, it's on there.
Yeah, Gary@GaryGulman.com.
Gary@GaryGulman.com. Check them out, folks. Fantastic. The next big thing coming out of Boston, and a city with a history of great comics. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an episode of Humor for Humanity. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next week. Adios.